It's unbelievable how so many mothers feel so guilty about a loss. Their first assumption, and I mean almost every single patient that I talk with, help, always thinks that it was their fault. I've been doing this a long time, and because of that I have a certain expertise, and I'm able to help couples when they didn't get answers before, get answers of why something went wrong with their pregnancies. So in the early 2000s, when I started getting lots of stillbirth cases to look at, I saw that many of them were due to small placentas. I asked my colleagues at Yale, the maternal fetal medicine division, why aren't you looking at placentas? They said, well, Harvey, it's just too difficult. The placenta is this cap shaped like a beanie cap, and when we do an ultrasound, the shape of it is just too unusual for us to figure out the volume easily. One of my fellows here in the maternal fetal medicine division did a great study. He was the first author. And what we did is we did the estimated placental volume, or EPV measurement, right before delivery, like within a few hours. And then as soon as the woman delivered, we clamped the umbilical cord so there was no loss of blood. We cut off the membranes. We weighed the placenta, and we compared the volume that he measured by ultrasound to the actual weight. And we showed that it was very similar. So that validated the use of estimated placental volume, or EPV, in terms of technically doing it. And then over the next decade, we've been collecting what's called normative data, what the normal growth curves are for the growth of a placenta from 6 weeks all the way to 42 weeks, let's say. Normally, the percentile weight of the fetus, we call that estimated fetal weight, should be the same percentile as its placenta. Now, the weights are different, but the percentile should be the same. If the fetus ends up becoming much larger, or is, let's say, the 50th or 60th or 70th percentile, and that fetus's or baby's placenta is down at the first or 0.1 percentile, that big difference is a serious problem. So we are in the process of doing a variety of studies to validate the use of EPV in clinical practice. Now, I do not feel that EPV by itself is a trigger for delivery. It is simply one of the tools in the toolbox that I'd like OBs and maternal fetal medicine doctors to use, in addition to all the other tests that are done right now to look at fetal well-being. One of the things I always stress to the couples that I meet is that there are certain things that a mother can do for herself to try to decrease the chances of a stillbirth. And probably the most important thing, and she is in the best position to do this, is to keep track of what's happening with her baby inside of her. I tell every mother, if you feel that there is a change, if you think there's decreased fetal movement, or the movements are different than the way they were before, or anything is out of the ordinary, or you feel different, then don't wait to call your doctor. Just go into the hospital to where labor and delivery is, where you'll be delivering ideally, and say, I don't feel my baby moving. Something is different. Please check me out. And I would say to those mothers, do not just accept a non-stress test as the test they do. Ask them to do an ultrasound. Ask them to do maybe a biophysical profile. Ask them to look at the amniotic fluid index. Ask them to compare the fetal size now compared to the last time that was measured. And if there is not the normal growth of that fetus, then that's a concern. And really, do not leave the hospital until you feel satisfied that everything has been evaluated. So those are the things the mother can do.